Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something real. When a woman goes silent, it ain't just quiet, it's loud. A man may not hear her voice, but he sure feels her absence. Now listen, day one, he thinks she just mad. She'll be back. He shrugs it off like it's nothing. That ego of his, oh, it's still inflated. He's texting slow, calling less. He ain't worried. Yet, when a woman goes silent, it sets off a chain reaction in a man's mind that he doesn't even see coming. At first, he might not even notice. He's used to her being the one who always reaches out, checks in, or tries to fix things. But when that stops, when the phone stays quiet, when there's no good morning text, no late night call, no passive aggressive comments, it starts to feel different. That's when curiosity kicks. He wonders, what's she doing? Why hasn't she said anything? He might think it's a phase. He assumes it'll blow over. He assumes he still has time. But silence has a way of creeping in. It's not loud, but it echoes. That curiosity turns into confusion. He begins to question himself. Did I mess up? Is she done with me? Is she seeing someone else? Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of space. And in that space, his thoughts get louder. He starts to think about everything she said before she went quiet. The time she asked him to show up, the way she said she felt unheard, the way she looked at him, hoping he'd understand without her having to explain for the 100th time. Then the confusion becomes a mirror. That's when clarity sets in. He starts to see the truth, not just about her, but about himself. He realizes he never really listened. He thought she'd always be there. He thought she'd never leave because she always forgave. But silence shows him something her words never could. It shows him what life feels like without her presence, without her energy, without her effort. Silence doesn't scream, it teaches. And it teaches slow. Day by day, it teaches him what she meant, what she gave, and how much he took for granted. It teaches him the difference between attention and intention. Because when she stops reaching out, he starts reaching in. And if he's honest with himself, that silence is a wake-up call. Not every man hears it, but the ones who do, they change. Or at least they realize what they lost. A woman's silence is layered. It's not empty. It's full of all the words she no longer has the strength to say. It's full of emotions she's processed quietly. It's full of boundaries. And for a man who thought he had time, that silence can be the most deafening sound he's ever experienced. That's the journey. Curiosity. Confusion. When a woman goes silent, people love to assume she's being petty, trying to teach a man a lesson or make him suffer. But the truth is, more often than not, her silence isn't about revenge. It's not about punishment. It's about reclaiming her power, her voice, her peace, her identity. Because somewhere along the way, she gave so much of herself trying to be heard, trying to be seen, trying to be understood, that she lost a part of herself in the process. And silence becomes the first step toward getting it back. It's exhausting being the one who always speaks up, always compromises, always gives the benefit of the doubt. It's heavy carrying a relationship on your back while also carrying your own emotions. So when she stops talking, it's not because she wants to hurt him. it's because she's done hurting herself. Silence is her boundary. It's her way of saying, I'm no longer begging you to respect me. I'm starting to respect myself. See, silence isn't loud, but it's powerful because it comes from a woman who has nothing left to prove. No more explanations, no more arguments, no more justifying her pain. That's real power. Not the kind that needs to control others, but the kind that takes full control of self. And when a woman starts to move in silence, it means she's taking her energy back. Energy she used to pour into fixing someone who didn't want to be fixed. Energy she gave to someone who misunderstood her worth. That power, it's peaceful, it's quiet, but it's strong because she's not using silence to manipulate, she's using it to detach. She's not trying to get a reaction. She's trying to protect her soul. That's not revenge, that's healing. That's wisdom, that's knowing that begging for love that doesn't feel like love isn't love at all. So she stopped showing up for someone who didn't show up for her. And when that happens, everything shifts. The energy shifts. The dynamic shifts. He starts to feel the loss, not because she's yelling, but because she's no longer available. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, he's reaching and she's already let go. That's what real power looks like. Not slamming doors, but walking away quietly with your dignity intact. So no, it's not about getting even. It's not about making him chase. It's not about playing games. It's about stepping back, standing tall, and remembering who she was before she forgot herself trying to love someone else. And that kind of silence, that kind of power, it doesn't need validation. It speaks for itself. There's something about consistency that gets overlooked. When a woman shows up every day, checking in, giving love, forgiving quickly, making space for him, sometimes that presence becomes invisible. Not because she's not valuable, but because he's gotten too comfortable. He assumes she'll always be there. He mistakes her consistency for permanence, like her love has no limits, like she'll never leave. But the truth is, even the strongest, most loving woman gets tired. And when she finally pulls back, that's when it all becomes clear. That's when her absence hits him harder than her words ever could. Men don't always realize what they had when they had it. It's not because they're heartless. It's because they're used to being prioritized. They get used to the calls, the texts, the reminders that they matter. They get used to the emotional labor she carries, the little things she remembers, the way she lifts his spirits, the support she gives without being asked. It's so constant that it starts to blend into the background of his life until it disappears. When she goes silent, it's like the lights went out. He stumbles around in the dark trying to figure out what changed. Suddenly, he's not getting a "did you eat" text. He's not hearing her laugh on the phone at night. He's not feeling that unconditional warmth that always made him feel safe no matter how chaotic his life was. And that's when the weight of her presence finally lands on him, when it's no longer there. Her absence becomes a mirror. It reflects everything he missed, everything he took for granted. He starts to remember how she used to listen even when he had nothing important to say, how she believed in him when he didn't believe in himself, how she stayed even when she had every reason to leave. And the silence forces him to sit with that truth. There's no distraction, no background noise, just a loud realization that she mattered a lot more than he ever let himself admit. See, some men only understand value through loss, sense of purpose. But once she's gone, all of that disappears with her. And that's when it finally sinks in. She wasn't just someone in his life, she was the light in it. And the silence she leaves behind is the only thing loud enough to wake him up. There's a moment that hits a man when everything gets quiet. It doesn't happen right away. It's not in the first few hours or even the first couple of days. But slowly, in the stillness, something shifts. He starts to notice the absence. The silence settles in, not just around him, but inside him. And in that silence, two things begin to compete. The memory of who you were to him and the regret of how he treated you. It's in that space, that quiet, that he starts to see what was always in front of him. He starts to realize your value or confront the weight of his mistake. When a woman goes silent, it's because she's already spoken volumes. She's already cried, already begged, already repeated herself more times than she should have. She didn't go silent because she had nothing to say. She went silent because she finally accepted that he wasn't listening. And once that silence hits, it creates a space for reflection. At first, he may feel relief, no arguments, no confrontation, but eventually the quiet becomes uncomfortable, it becomes loud. It starts playing back all the things he ignored, how she asked for more affection, how she wanted him to show up differently, how she needed to feel chosen, not just tolerated. Suddenly he begins to evaluate. He thinks back to how she looked at him when she was in love, how she supported him when no one else did, how she made excuses for his behavior just so she could hold the relationship together. And now that she's not there to cover up the cracks, he sees the damage. He sees the times he brushed her off, the times he downplayed her feelings, the moments he laughed when she was trying to be serious, the phone calls he ignored, the messages he left unread. That's the mistake sinking in. But the beautiful, painful part of silence is that it gives a man the room to either grow or stay the same. If he truly sees your value, the silence will humble him. It will break down the pride, the ego, the false sense of control. He'll want to fix it, not to get you back, but because he finally understands what he had. But if he lets the silence pass without changing, without reaching, then it's not that he didn't realize your value, it's that he couldn't handle it. Some men don't deserve the second chance silence gives them, because silence isn't just a punishment, it's a mirror. And that mirror shows him either the treasure he lost or the blessing he failed to protect. Whether he sees your worth or his mistake depends entirely on him. But one thing is always true. Silence doesn't go unnoticed. It reveals truth. It reveals value, and for a man who thought you'd always be there, it reveals just how wrong he was. Men and women feel things differently, not because one feels more deeply than the other, but because they're wired to process emotions in different ways. When a woman starts pulling away or goes silent, it's often because she's been sitting with her feelings for a long time. She's cried, she's vented, she's written texts she never sent. She's analyzed every word, every moment, every shift in tone. Her silence isn't sudden. It's the final stage of emotional exhaustion. But for a man, that silence is when the emotional process begins. A woman will often stay emotionally connected even when things are falling apart. She'll try to talk it out, fix it, mend it. She feels the distance growing, but she stays, hoping it's temporary. She speaks up when something feels wrong. She leans in, even when she should be walking away. And when she finally chooses silence, it means her heart has already been through the storm. She's not trying to figure out how she feels. She's already figured it out. She's just done repeating herself. But for a man, that silence is often the trigger. That's when the thoughts begin. That's when the emotions he's been suppressing start rising to the surface. Before the silence, he might not notice the shift. He might think everything's fine. Even if she's been hurting, he doesn't feel the urgency because the connection still seems present. But once she's gone quiet, once she stops asking, stops calling, stops caring, he feels the absence in a real tangible way. And that's when his mind starts the work hard already finished. And he starts wondering if she's okay, if she's moved on, if she's given the energy she used to give him to someone else. He starts questioning his choices, why he didn't show up more, why he didn't take her seriously, why he thought she'd never leave. And the absence becomes louder than anything she ever said. It follows him, shows up when he's alone. It whispers in the quiet moments, reminding him that something is missing and that something was her. This difference in timing is what causes so many missed chances. While she was fighting to be heard, he was comfortable. While she was breaking inside, he was brushing things off. While she was trying to reconnect, he was pulling away. So by the time he finally feels the depth of her absence, she's no longer emotionally available. She's healed, or at least she's on her way, and he's just getting started. The gap between how men and women process absence is why silence can feel so devastating to both sides. For her, it's a release. For him, it's a realization. And sometimes that realization comes too late because while he was waiting for the storm, she was already weathering it alone. And when the skies finally cleared for her, she didn't need to talk anymore. She just needed peace. In any relationship, words are often taken for granted. People get used to hearing each other talk. Arguments, explanations, apologies, promises. It all becomes part of the rhythm, part of the noise that fills the space between two people. But when that noise stops, when one person chooses silence over speaking, it creates a shift that's impossible to ignore. Silence has its own language, and in relationships, it often says what words never could. It's not passive, it's not empty, it's powerful, it's intentional, it's a statement all on its own. When a woman who always spoke her mind suddenly stops talking, that silence becomes the loudest message in the room. It says, I'm done explaining. It says, I've said all I can say. It says, I've realized that my words aren't enough to change this. That silence speaks louder than any yelling, any crying, any pleading. It doesn't beg to be heard, it demands it. And the irony is, people usually don't listen until there's nothing left to hear. There's a deep strength in a woman's silence. It doesn't mean she's okay with how things are. It means she's chosen not to waste her energy anymore. It means she's learned that her peace is more important than arguing with someone who doesn't want to understand. It means she's no longer interested in convincing someone of her worth. Her silence says, if you didn't hear me when I was speaking, you'll feel me when I'm gone. Silence in a relationship is like an alarm. it wakes up the other person.